Alright, stream should be starting. Let's switch off the notifications and let's have a look here at our YouTube channel. Just to make sure. Okay. So the stream is live. I hope everybody can hear me fine. Let's just wait for a little bit of a confirmation. Can you guys hear me okay? Okay, all right, I got confirmation. Okay, so if there is a problem with the video, I apologize. I built a brand new computer for this year. This was my Christmas present, and I had to install OBS. So this is the first time that I'm streaming to you guys. So hopefully this one will not have that horrible flicker that we had in the previous videos, and we'll be able to work these things out. So welcome to everybody that is taking time of their busy days and joining us here for this Hangout. In this Hangout, what we're going to do is it's going to be just a discussion, but in the background we will start releasing the 4.0.1. This is our first release for 2020. Very excited. We changed a few things with regards to how we do things. So we started with a more agile project management. So we split our releases into 2 weeks, and we're taking issues that we can fix within that time, and then we fix them. That might mean that we will have much more frequent releases, but it would also mean that we could potentially not have that many and exciting things per release. And what we also do is we're working kind of like 75-25, so 75% on issues that we have with version 4, and we're also working on 25% on issues that we have for 4.1, a future functionality that we want to introduce. If you guys remember, we did discuss this, and we mentioned that version 4 could be considered some sort of an interim release, in the sense that we have a view of where we want to go with Phalcon and how we want to evolve the framework. For instance, we did mention this numerous times in the past. We want to introduce the data mapper pattern for our ORM. As one can tell, this is not a simple task that you can do in just one small iteration. So what we're doing is we're laying down the foundation until such time comes that we can release the data mapper. And of course, I will repeat myself again, we are going to keep the active record pattern for at least one release so that people can get used to the new functionality. Similarly, we did mention that we want to rewrite our HTTP layer so that it can properly intercept, interpret, and parse PSR7 requests. That is not an easy thing to do with the current implementation. So slowly we start putting little by little building blocks as releases come in. So when the time comes, we can actually say, okay, this is the new HTTP layer, and this is what you can do to enable it. And then, we're just gonna let both the old HTTP and the new HTTP work in, let's say, one release, one full version rather, not release, and then at some point just switch over just to PSR7. So we have a little presentation for you guys. The agenda for today is introduction, as we've done. Welcome to everybody that is watching and took a little bit of time from their busy schedules. Huge thank you as always, so we cannot stress this enough, to the whole community and everybody that has contributed. A small status update. We're gonna start our release 4.01, a little bit discussion about the Devtools and the sample applications, and a Q&A. Of course, you can always ask questions in the chat, and I'll answer them as soon as I get them. So let me hold on a sec. Let me load up YouTube as well here, because the comment section is not working on the other part. There's two different windows that I have. One is the one that is the YouTube streaming, so to speak, and the other one is the actual what you guys see. So, all right, okay. I see that there's a few people. Hello to Radoslaw, Hash and Yas, Suleiman, Toba. Welcome everybody. Okay, so let's have a quick look. It shouldn't be 480. I don't understand, guys. Alright, so please check the video resolution. The current resolution is this, which is not... Okay, well, again, I'm really sorry about this, guys. These are all little growing pains. It's the new computer. I did run the test beforehand in the YouTube studio, and it actually said that, you have a great connection, yada yada yada. But once I started it, it started saying that, your resolution is not as it should be. So we're gonna fix it. And hi Tim, sorry. I just went with what I saw on YouTube. So yeah, this is gonna be fixed in its little growing pains. So sorry about that. Okay, so let's hook this up. All right, huge thank you. Yeah, we do use OBS. That's how we stream things, and it did mention that when I ran the tests, that the connection was perfect, yada yada yada. Max resolution 60 frames per minute, but the YouTube page is showing that the resolution is different. It says it's 1148 by 646. So anyway, well, we're gonna fix that in the next one. So this slide is always here, and it will always be here, because we're always grateful for our contributors. Huge thank you to everybody that has been contributing and helping us, whether this is with suggestions, whether this is with pull requests, even with financial support, whoever can, or the best way is spreading the word about Phalcon and sharing our posts and videos, so that the whole community, the whole PHP community can learn about Phalcon and start using it, at least for whatever projects they want. This is a list of all of our social media presences. Whichever you want to follow, you can follow all of them. You can follow none. It's entirely up to you. And a huge thank you to everybody that has contributed. The next slide is also very familiar. It's about the documentation and a thank you that we always give to the translators, the ones that decide to take a little bit of their time and translate Phalcon documentation to their native tongue. For that, we use Crowden, which we thank them a lot for the free service that they offer us, because we're an open source project and we have a really good relationship with these guys. And then we also have Algolia, really great guys over there, who comes over and scans the whole site, parses it, crawls it if you like, and then produces the search results for all of us. We thank these guys, and thank you again for all of the contributors. So what is the current sprint? The current sprint was 2 weeks, 2 weeks and a little bit, because we had the release, if you recall, on the 21st of December, right before Christmas, and now it's January 11th. Our sprint allegedly finished yesterday. So we had around 2 weeks to finish certain things. We had I'm going to talk about cards, and when I'm talking about cards, each card represents one issue. So we had 22 questions that were 22 issues that were attributed as questions, or want fix, or not a bug. These could have been issues that the submitter did not understand, or they asked for something and they found it later, or something that was intended functionality, or they didn't know how to do something. So we had 22 of those. We had 38 of them that were implemented, and bear in mind this number is throughout all the projects that we have in Phalcon. So if we did something in Devtools, that's one of those 38. If we did something in Vokuro, or something in the main repository, or something in the docs, these are all combined. So we had 38 of those issues done. We still have 6 of them working on it. We didn't finish the whole sprint, and it was mostly either issues that related to the sample apps, Vokuro, Invo mostly, or there were issues where we were waiting for feedback from the submitter of the issue, and those, you have to wait. You cannot fix it. As far as the last line is where you're gonna find this project, what I'm talking about, with all the issues. So if you go and click on the Phalcon organization, so if you go to the main GitHub repository and then you go back to Phalcon, you're gonna see a tab that says projects. The first project is project for the Phalcon roadmap, and then you're gonna see our whole backlog, what we have in the pipeline. Then you're gonna see what is in the current sprint, what we started working on, what we have implemented, and then after that you're gonna see 2 other additional columns on what has been released and what has not been. And there's also a column with the ones that we say we won't fix, or they're just questions, or they're not bugs, and all that stuff. So one thing to note here about the 6 working on it, one of our members, Anton or Jickerson, that you see him, who is mostly responsible for the if you like, satellite applications, the sample applications, the Devtools, and all that stuff, recently got a new job, so his time was a little bit limited in terms of working on the project, so that's why we had this kind of delay. But these things are we're all humans. We can just start, we have things to do other than Phalcon. So if real life needs us to do something, we attend to that and not to the framework, okay? Now, what I mentioned earlier about the Phalcon roadmap, the project, you're gonna see that if you go at the top and you click on the organization, you're gonna see this projects tab, and this is how it's gonna look to you right now. So you see we have the backlog. We have 89 issues in the backlog. Some of them are bugs. Some of them mostly low. Some of them are medium. But the most part are new feature requests or enhancements. And that again goes throughout all the projects. It's not only the Phalcon one. As you can see in the screenshot, the first issue of the backlog says is from the Devtools. The second one is from the documentation. And the third one is from the main website that we have problems with the search. So in the current sprint, we're actually putting issues that we need to address, and with the working on it, we have certain things that we started working on it, and that's how it goes. If you want to follow that, by all means, go ahead and have a look at the page. So the highlights of this build, of this release. Hold on a sec. To answer to Tim's question on YouTube, there's a website that we have which is called buildwith.phalcon.io. What you can do, Tim, is actually issue a pull request and add your website there, and with some screenshots and all that stuff, and then it will be there. Okay. The question was whether we can add a commercial project to Phalcon to showcase it. So BuildWith is one of our lesser known websites, sadly, but you can always go and showcase your work there if you can, of course. So back to the slides. We got the highlights. We updated the docs. We put a lot of clarifications. A few of the issues that you saw that were in the want fix, not a bug category, those were documentation related. So we added a few more documents and a few more sentences here and there. You will notice that we're very vigilant with our documentation, trying to keep it in sync. That's why I spent a good amount of time last night going through all the pull requests that had the documentation tag and ensuring that all these things that we wanted to document, that whatever pull request brought in, were documented, so we don't miss things. We did some build adjustments for PHP 7.4. There was a bug for the request cookie and with regards to the delete and the send. That was fixed. We fixed the size parameter for datestamp and timestamp. The query builder was adjusted to recognize virtual columns, and we fixed quite a few Devtools bugs. And thank you again to the community for reporting those, and of course to Anton for quickly sorting those out. The two big things that we had in this release, and I'm going to start from bottom to top, is the Codeception Phalcon 4 module. With Codeception, if you guys don't know it, it is a testing framework. It is a beautiful testing framework. We use it religiously in Phalcon, and that's how we run our tests. And personally, I use it in other projects as well. I don't think I could go back to PHP Unit, although Codeception is kind of like a wrapper around PHP Unit, but a supercharged wrapper. So we created the Phalcon 4 module, so you can run Codeception in Phalcon v4 using the module that Codeception offers, and that allows you to automatically bootstrap your application without having to worry much about how to and setting up routes and all that stuff. That was a huge win. We managed to do that, and Rude was leading this effort, and thank you very much for that. And also, I'd like to thank Sergey as well, who is a member of the Codeception team, as well as Michael, who is the guy that started writing Codeception, as well as the other guys. And also, Rude took the lead to do Peckle work. So 4.0.1 will be the first release that we release with Peckle. This is a huge milestone. To those that have not been following the project for a long time, the history is that we requested to become a member of Peckle, or at least to have Phalcon in Peckle, since 2000. Must have been either 13 or 14. It must have been around version 1 or 1.3, somewhere there. That was the first time that we requested it. We sent, I don't know how many emails to the Peckle list. Again and again and again and again, and we kept on, and most of them would be not even replied to. Lately, we managed to get some traction. We did get a couple of replies, but never moved forward. And thanks to my wonderful Dutch friend, Ruud, that is, he persisted, and he managed to get Peckle to reply to us, and lo and behold, we now have an account in Peckle. A few months back, we put a blog post about it. So now, after reading and all that stuff, we managed to get the first package, to get the structure that Peckle needs, so that we can post this package to Peckle. Of course, the mountain that we will have to climb later on would be to put the documentation into php.net. But one step at a time. This is our first release with Peckle. Excuse me. Give me just a sec. Okay, so a small parenthesis here. Sergey is actually getting ready for releasing 4.01. So he actually pinged me to start regenerating the XD folder. So I'm doing that in the background. So yeah, this is going to be our first release with Peckle. We're going to have more releases coming as we do them, and of course it's going to be lessons learned for us, since it's going to be the first release. We're pretty sure it's going to work, but you never know until you figure everything out. So yeah, that's exciting news. Also, our other friend Paul Scarron has been working diligently with providing binaries for macOS with Homebrew. I'm not a Mac guy. I kind of know what they are, but I just leave them where they are because I don't play around with Apple products. But apparently there's all sorts of bits and pieces and permutations with regards to different versions. I heard the name Catalina. I thought it was a girl at some point, but apparently it's a release for for Macintosh, the Mac OS. So yeah, he's been doing great work about that, and we're gonna have more and more stuff coming up, and stuff that would actually help you guys install Phalcon with just one command, right? So very excited about that. Continuing and closing to the highlights. We would like to thank Jeremy Pasturet, I think. Jeremy has been working on a book with regards to Phalcon v3, and he's going to expand it a little bit with v4. As soon as the book is ready, we are going to announce it. I don't know if it's translated, but it's mostly for French speaking. So what he has also been doing is, as he goes through the framework, he actually started refactoring and writing more tests. And Ruud and I tried to finish all the CLI tests. So all the tests in the CLI suite are passing. All right, we don't have any skipped tests for that. But also Jeremy has helped with other areas. So he was concentrating mostly on the HTTP namespace and doing the cookie ones. So with every new release, we want to ensure that we add more and more and more tests, and to the point that in the future we have no skipped tests, and we have very, very few edge cases of the framework that have not been tested, and a test goes with a bug fix. Also for the 4.1 release, we added JWT support. So JSON Web Tokens, those are going to be under the HTTP namespace. So you can do pretty much anything you want with regards to the JSON Web Tokens. So you're going to be able to generate one, set the audience, set the subject, and so on and so forth, sign it, and then send it, and then when you receive it, you can validate it. The current implementation right now uses only symmetric methods, so it will use only the HMAC versions, but later on we're going to expand to the EDCSA, whatever that thing is, the asymmetric one, where the private key and the public key are different. We also added, and this is recent, it came in last night, the HTML/helpers. Some of you might have seen under the HTML namespace a factory called Tag Factory, which allows you to create tiny small helper classes that can generate HTML, whether this is an A tag, a text area, or whatever HTML you want. To relate that with version 3, this is the tag component. All right, so when you type in tag : input field, that's going to give you an input field or input color or something like that. It will give you an input color field. This namespace, the HTML helpers, has smaller classes that do exactly the same thing. The goal is to completely remove the tag classes and all the craziness that comes with static calls, because tag is a static class and all the methods are static. And using the DI container to be able to access all these helpers at any given time, exactly the same way that you would do. Okay. Oh yay, my little one is here. So that's pretty much it. Of course, docs are needed for those, and this is something that we definitely are gonna be working on pretty soon. Okay, so all right, give me 1 sec. Let me write this something down. All right, baby. Bye. Okay, I just need to make sure that all the versions are correct and everything before we release. All right, I'll come back. So, Peckle, yay! There you go. There's the party. And so that you guys know, this picture is how people celebrate in Amsterdam. I wanted to have a girl dancing with a ballet, but Ruud told me that this is the way everybody celebrates in Amsterdam, and this is in honor to my buddy Ruud that managed to get all this work done and get us through this hurdle. So kudos to Ruud, and kudos to everybody that's going to be brave enough to download it from Peckle and all that. very quickly, hello to Anil. Hi Hash again. Hi Clay. Okay, and according to Ruud, this picture was during the Amsterdam dance event of 2019. So there you go. So yeah, extremely excited about Pickle. So, what now? Alright, I need to write something to... Alright, ext, do you want me to commit it to v4 4.0.x? Okay. Hello Julius as well. So what is next? The roadmap, as we mentioned, is in the first link. We also have an NFR list. Users have different requirements, okay, hold on a sec. I need to commit something. Okay. So, alright, we regenerated the EXT. Sorry about these small delays, guys. We're trying to coordinate, and it's actually 4 screens ahead of me, so I'm trying to figure everything out. So here's how usually we work. People work with Phalcon, and then lo and behold, they turn around and say, "Oh well, I saw this thing in this other framework." Or I'm in need of something else, so might as well ask for the people that maintain it. Why the maintainers? Why don't they actually add it in the framework to make my life easier? So what they do is they issue an NFR, new feature request, and you're gonna be hearing my little one who's somewhere down there, and she's playing with her little iPad. So, okay, I need to do one more thing. Hold on. All right, so I need to generate something else. Alright, so I forgot to do the build folder while we were doing the release, and I'll explain what that is as well.
Yes, it's a van. It's portable.
There you go, my little chatterbox. You get extra entertainment. What else do you want? So, all these, back to the NFR. So all these are NFRs, new feature requests. And what happens is, somebody might turn around and say, well, I want you to put, cryptocurrency support in Phalcon. Well, if it's only one person that wants this, clearly we're not going to do it, because we're a small team. We're not gonna expand and bloat the framework for just one person. But if somebody turns around and says, "Oh well, I want full support in Redis cluster," and this is one of the new feature requests, then yeah, that's definitely gonna help a lot of people. So what we have done is, instead of having hundreds and hundreds of issues in GitHub, what we did is every single NFR we actually closed it immediately, and we created one issue that is the NFR list, which all right, so we have one issue that we list every single NFR that we had, and then we requested from the community to go and do a thumbs up and do a thumbs down if they like this request. So the
wait.
yes, honey, it's the ostriches.
Wait.
Way to go, baby.
Think about it. What is it?
All right, so by getting the thumbs up and thumbs down in every issue, in every issue, we actually get the feeling from the community on which are the NFRs that are mostly needed for the community. So if you actually go to that second URL and that issue, which is already pinned in the issues, you're gonna see certain things that people really like. For instance, one of the most popular one is the auto wire and the container, right? And I'm just mentioning that. So feel free to go up there and vote if you haven't done it, or if you have any other pull new feature request, feel free to open an issue and then we will add it in the list. Don't get discouraged if your new feature request gets closed pretty much immediately. The reason we close it is so that we can have a better management, and once we get the feeling from the community that this is what the community wants, the issue is reopened, it gets implemented, and then it gets fixed. Alright, so more on what it is now. What is our future plan and where we're going? We did mention about data mapper earlier. This is 14126, the issue. This thing is work underway. We're not gonna do this in one sprint. It is slowly going, and we have to make sure that it moves properly. So out of all of these things that the data mapper should have, so it should have an information schema class that would give you information about your tables. It should have the actual mapper, the ORM, the PDO shell or connection, the query, and as well as the table. And all these together should actually give you the full ORM, the data mapper. The inspiration on this came from Atlas, Atlas PHP, and so far we've been working on the PDO shell. So it's going to be a very tiny wrapper around PDO. So far we got 100% code coverage on SQLite and MySQL, and we're working for Postgres. And this is a big if I can get the GitHub Actions to work well with Microsoft SQL Server, we're gonna add Microsoft SQL Server there too. For this particular work, the way and this one is happening in the background, so to speak, so it's not visible by the community. For this one, what we're doing is we're having one set of tests, and we run the same tests with a different parameter which defines which one is your database. So come on, man, hold on a second, guys. Alright, let me regenerate this thing for Sergey. Sorry about this, guys. Oh, okay. Alright, he's... Oh, well, Rude sees it. Sergey doesn't. So, I'll explain what I've been doing here, too. Once I'm done with this thing. So, yes. This is pretty much the database layer that we're working on, and we're working with creating tests for every single ORM.
It's Allie.
Hi, Allie. Hi, my love. So we're gonna run the tests for every RDBMS that we're gonna support. So for now, as you see, we have SQLite and MySQL. The next one would be Postgres, and hopefully we can get SQL Server as well from Microsoft. but we're going to be running the whole test suite with a different parameter, which will define which connection we have. And as such, if we have good code coverage for, let's say, MySQL, the same test should actually run to SQLite. Now, bear in mind that with databases, we do have inconsistencies. So, for instance, the data types that MySQL provides are not the same as the one in SQLite, and of course they're not the same in Postgres. And these are all little growing pains that we're going to go through as we move along in this process. But the idea is that once the PDO is done for all 4 of those, then we're going to move on to the info and schema, and then we're going to move on to the query, then table, mapper, ORM, and all that stuff, and then it will be done. I don't know exactly when it will be done. This thing happens with a few hours here and there. It's not something that we focus on immediately. So it will come. All I can tell you is that it will come definitely before version 5. So there you go. Okay, so a couple of things here. So for Clay, yes, you can upgrade it. It's relatively simple. There's a dedicated upgrade document, and you can also use Rector PHP that Ruud has linked in the comments. Can you change the method of connection model, because it's hard to set connection by adding the connection to the DI shared. The next slide, this is for Hash and Yash. Hash and Yas. So there's 2 things here. First of all, you have the DI, and second, you have the database. This new data mapper that we're building is not assuming anything as the current implementation. So for instance, in the current implementation, you pass an array of certain things, and then internally it actually creates whatever the connection parameters. The new one works exactly as PDO, so you are responsible for passing the DSN. Also, in the new one, in the PDO, there is a built-in connection locator, so you can create your own default connection. You can also have read servers and read connections and write connections, and then it will do a round robin on them, or a random. So all of these are gonna be worked on and introduced. That's why I said we're still working on the PDO. There's quite a few things going on. So Hash and Yes, MongoDB, will it be added? Yes, of course it will be. There is a lot of work that has happened before we released V4, and that was from TacticX, one of our members. There is a PR waiting there, but we have to look it up again because there was a hard dependency on the BSON, I think. It's the serializer that comes with Mongo. And we didn't want to introduce that as an interface in Phalcon, because had we done that, then everybody would have had to install the Mongo driver before they start working with Phalcon. This is unfortunately something that the Zend engine does. So if there is an external interface defined, you have to have that interface available, otherwise your extension is never loaded. So there's a little bit of work that we need to do with TacticX so that we can introduce MongoDB. We have not abandoned that part of the project, we just removed it because we needed to upgrade the driver and offer more functionality. Also for Team MySQL 8 is supported. I haven't used MySQL 8. If it's supported by PDO, it is supported by us too. So pretty much that's how it's done. So on the next slide, what now with v4.1, we have a container PSR 11. So that is issue 13378, and it relates to the auto wiring as well that some have requested, as well as some have requested the ability to set up aliases in the container. So for this one, again, this is kind of like a side project. It's not visible by the community. As soon as it's ready, we actually release it, but you're not going to be able to see it. We're working on a different repository. So this is what we got so far. We got 9.84 code coverage quality. This is from Scrutinizer, and 97% code coverage. It will go to 100 if possible, or as close to as possible. The container that we've built utilizes lazy loading for everything. It doesn't load things from scratch. It does caching so long as you don't have closures, so you can serialize and unserialize your container at any given point. You can preset property setters as well as mutations. Mutations are if you want to, let's say, do something with the object right after it has been created and right before you return it back to the caller. It does auto wiring, and then we have service providers test, and I forgot to put in is the configuration, because you can pretty much configure all your services using a configuration class, which would probably be an array or something like that. So this is kind of like the progress that we have on that. Again, this is a little bit of work in progress. It will come in 4.1. I don't know if it will come 4.1 or 4.2, but yeah, it is definitely work in progress. Okay, so I'm just checking the other news here, so sorry for the delay. And Q&A. What do you guys have? That was all the things that I had for you. Hold on a sec, let me write. Okay, so let's see. Let's see what we need to do here. All right, so thank you. Thanks for the hard work and awesome project. Thank you very much, guys. I mean, seriously, it's you that make this project work the way it does. Yeah, we put in the time and we try to, to produce something that is good for the community. But if it's not for the community itself actually driving the project, we're not having much luck, are we? So let me switch a little bit to a different screen. Let's see if I can get this. So bottom right is this one. Okay, so let me take PHP Storm and this guy, and let me bring this guy here. Actually, not this one. This one. Okay, so what I was saying earlier is all you can do is go up here to the top and click on Phalcon, and once you get there, you're gonna see this organization. All you have to do is just click projects, and then click on the Phalcon roadmap, and then you're gonna see everything that we're doing and we have done or not. So after today, this whole implemented column that you see here is gonna be moved into the released. All right, and we have the unverified one fixed duplicates over there. So these are the things that working on it. As you can see, a lot of them are on the on Invo, and some of them are from docs and all that stuff. And I didn't mention that Anton has been quite busy with his new work and was not able to help with this, but you know, it will move on. So the next release is gonna come close to the January 24th. That's when our sprint is gonna end. And in the meantime, we're gonna try and move more and more things towards the community, such as creating videos and all that. We have a couple of ideas. Rude actually threw in an idea of creating a tiny API and linking it with Nuxt or Next or whatever this thing is called, and UXT and Vue.js, and making a small video of that, and you know, maybe a tutorial on how you can do that. And also we have plans of having that particular functionality ready for you from the Devtools. So there's a lot of things. We have a lot of ideas on how to help the community. The idea is that you just go in and say, okay, I want a Vue project, and then you can type in a command with Devtools, and then you can get everything ready for you, and all you have to do is just do the implementation. Here on the left side, you're gonna see most of these things are at the top. We have all the bugs. And some of them are 4.1 that are kind of like linked there. So we're trying to fix them as much as we can without forgetting the current release. So 4.0.2, when it comes, it will have any bugs that have been reported by the community. But if we can, some of these bugs, if we can fix them, we're gonna release them faster. And then we have some low here, and then all you have to do is just come back here, and then everything else is enhancements. All right, so enhancements, new feature request, enhancements, and again, this is from different projects. That's why you see different labels. These are all C Phalcon for now. So here, for instance, you see some up here, C Phalcon. This one is Vokuro. This is Devtools. Again, Devtools, REST API, and so on and so forth. Okay, so we have pretty much everything that relates to the project, and we all collaborate and try to make this thing as fast as we can. All right, so I got an okay from Sergey. We're moving on with the release. All right. Okay, so we are gonna be moving with the release in the background. It is gonna take a little bit of time. We've mentioned this before. We've been working with we mentioned this before. In Phalcon, we use Travis heavily to compile our tests and all that stuff, right, and make sure that everything is fine. But we also use Travis in order to build the RPMs and debs, all these Linux packages. Now, because we have only one account, and each account has only 3 concurrent jobs, and each of our push or pull requests has 5 containers, so 5 jobs. We have to wait for the first 3 to finish, and then the other 2 pick up, and then it goes to the next one. and once the time comes for the pull request and then the merge and all that stuff, again everything starts running from the beginning. And again you have this bottleneck of the 3 containers and so on and so forth, until it reaches to the point where it starts building the RPMs and the depths, and then that takes quite a bit of time. So it is a lengthy process. We're working on it. Okay. Quick hello to Julius. I think I said hi to you. Hey Max, Radoslaw again. Sorry. Edgar's, Ibrahim, and Diplopido is back. All right. So all right, Radoslaw, I'm using View Phalcon combo. Yeah, I know Rude has been using View Phalcon for quite a long time. Edgar, if you need any help, Edgar, by all means, either our forum or our Discord, absolutely ask any questions. Max, we use Vue and Phalcon for most of our projects. Yep, absolutely. Radoslaw, are you planning on implementing Atlas, or you're working already with it? With Atlas, I tried to find a PHP-based data mapper implementation that was flexible enough and fast enough. All right. We all have read all the documentation, let's say Martin Fowler's book on refactoring or the enterprise patterns, and we know what the data mapper pattern is. But it instead of reinventing the wheel, I went and discussed the whole issue with Paul Jones, who is the author of Atlas. And we came up with a good discussion that you could potentially make your own implementation using Atlas as a guide or as a base. So that's pretty much what I'm doing. I'm actually looking at how they have done it and adjusting it the way Phalcon needs to have it. So you could say that it is a hybrid of Atlas PHP, but it is going to be running in Zephyr and Phalcon. There are certain things that cannot happen the way the way Atlas does it. For instance, to give you an idea, with Atlas, when you use the PDO connection, you can actually yield results. So you can, instead of doing fetch all, you can do yield fetch all, and that would use the generator of PHP and give everything to you in some sort of an asynchronous way, the way yield works. Well, we cannot do that in Zephyr, at least not for now. So certain things are not in sync. Okay. But yeah, we're using Atlas as a kind of like a guide on how this whole thing is gonna evolve, and then we're actually putting our own touch into it, if that makes sense. So Ibrahim is asking for tutorial about Phalcon and Vue. Yeah, the guys are gonna help here. Hello, Andromedus. Questions about Vue. Any plan on integrating the eager loading from the incubator into Zephyr? Gosh. Not again the eager loading. Probably not. To give you the quick answer. The reason that there is a serious reason for this. So the problem that you have with eager loading is that it's not always beneficial to have eager loading. There's very few spots where you do need eager loading, right? For performance reasons, you as a developer should be the one that says, okay, I want to get this, and let me get these other two things because I'm gonna use all three in my request, and that's pretty much it. So this way you ensure that you have the least amount of resources used for your whole request. If you delegate this task to a framework to do the eager loading, you could potentially end up, and this is mostly the case that I have seen, you end up with a request that consumes, let's say, 1 megabyte of memory, whereas your actual request and your task did not even need half of that. Okay, so that's my personal rejection towards eager loading. There are certain benefits to it and special cases, but I prefer to do the eager loading on my own rather than letting a framework do it for me. Now, having said all that, and I do see the benefit of having it. Okay, but I am very afraid that it's going to be abused, and then it's going to become a headache that I do not want to have, because I'm going to be the one listening to it. Hear me out on the scenario. So, for instance, you have somebody that goes and does eager loading on I don't know how many records, how many children records, and then they come over and complain about performance. All right. So if you eager load a few thousand records and you're only going to use 2 or 3 per request, then it doesn't really make sense. And I'm going to be the one that is going to be hearing it. Now, hey Oleg, welcome. Now, bringing it all back to what we mentioned about the ORM and the data mapper. The current ORM, the way it is reasonably stable. It has some bits and pieces here and there, but it is reasonably stable. To be quite frank with you, I'm afraid to touch it, right? Because it is such a core component of the framework. And the reason I'm afraid to touch it is because we do not have good code coverage for it. So if I fix something here, which might be very innocent, I could potentially bring the whole thing down. And the tests that we have are not enough to show me that this thing that I changed here broke something else over there. That's why I'm very afraid. I could turn around and say, well, it's okay, it's an open source project, who cares? The guys can suck it up and do that. But you cannot do this because Phalcon is used in commercial projects and into companies. So you have to treat Phalcon as if it's your work, right? And if you mess it up, you're gonna lose your job, that kind of thing. So I'm very hesitant in adding something to the ORM that I cannot fully understand. I cannot fully test or do not have good tests for. I could potentially take the eager loading from the incubator and just convert it to Zephyr and put it in the framework, but I don't know what repercussions that would have in the framework itself. Right? Now, with the new ORM that we're building, the data mapper, you will pretty much no longer need to have eager loading because everything will be lazy loaded for you from the mapper. So at that point, we can definitely discuss about eager loading and everything, because the goal is the minute data mapper gets introduced, it's gonna have either 100% code coverage or very close to. So then any change that we would make to the ORM, we would be very confident that it would help, or it will not break, or it will break, or whatever. Okay, so what else do we have? What's the maximum request per second that we can have in 1 gigabyte with Phalcon, for example? That I do not know, but there was a blog post some time ago We have it in our chat, but I don't remember where it is. Rude, do you happen to remember that that blog post of that guy that made a Hello World application? Now hold on a sec. There is a blog post for sure that we did. And that is with the version 3. Not with version 4, so this is the blog post that we did. Now bear in mind that this is version 3, 1, and 2, very important, extremely important. This is not a test for a full application. This is a test to just print out a hello world out, just to show you how much just the framework costs you in resources. Now your own application will slow or speed things down, but if you do not know how much the framework actually costs you, it will not help you. Okay. So this is the, I mean, we did it in 2017. It's quite an old thing, but it kind of like gives you an idea where Phalcon is. This is the included files. Of course, Phalcon has 1, but Silex has 81. So that is a cost for you if you use Silex or Lumen or Fatfree or Lemonade or whatever. That's one of the things that you have to keep in mind. Now, I understand memory is very cheap. Processing power, Amazon Cloud, whatever, are very cheap, and what you call it, and usually your boss pays the bill, so you don't. So you don't care. Just throw another 100 gigs on the server. The point that we're trying to make with this is that when you're deciding on building an application, and you have decided that PHP is gonna be the tool that would help your application expand, right? It is very, very easy to forget certain things. And one of the things that people forget is how much the framework costs to you right only on the bootstrap side of things, right? So, Rude, I was talking about that blog post that came up in our chat. That there was this guy that did a similar test, but they did it recently. I don't remember the name, but it's somewhere there. Anyhow, so this is what you should be looking at. And once you decide that, you know what, I can live with Silex. Including 81 files, or I can live with Lumen including 37 files, but you know that you start from 37 in the included files, right? That's where I'm getting at. On the memory usage, this is kilobytes. Phalcon was at 20 kilobytes, and then Lumen was at 386. Again, you can turn around and say, well, you know what, I don't care, memory's cheap. Perfectly fine with you. But you should know this information. You should not go blind. If your boss ever asks you about this, you should know how to answer it. And then the mean requests per second was 1600 for Phalcon versus... Lemonade. Lemonade is a framework that is a functional framework. It only has functions. There you go. The Pixelbot article. Thank you, Rude, for linking that. I'll just put it in the screen. And then the time to complete the requests, Phalcon was 0.5, and then it goes all the way up. This was from 2017. A similar article came from Pixelbot, and this was December 6th, so it's kind of like a month old. And here's pretty much exactly what we're talking about. What this guy did is he actually got a or girl, I don't know, got a $40 dedicated 2 cores, 4 gigabytes of memory. on a dedicated DigitalOcean droplet, and he started writing the same hello world on different frameworks in order to figure out what would be the requests per second, and what would be the cost of the framework to your application. Again, these are not full-blown applications. This is just a hello world that prints out. You could potentially have the slowest framework from this test. For instance, we're looking at Zen, Skeleton, or CodeIgniter, right? And have your application run faster than the faster one because of your implementation, not because of the framework. So it matters how you develop your application using good techniques, ensuring that you can maintain your code and all that stuff. But you should never forget the layers that you add to your framework, to your whole stack. So PHP is layer 1, and then you have your framework. You also have on the HTTP side, you have Apache, or maybe Caddy Server, or maybe Nginx, or maybe PHP FPM. All these have to be accounted for. So what this guy did is he put in how many requests per second. So pure HTML does 11,000, pure PHP does 2.5, fat free goes 2.1, Phalcon 3.4.5 goes 2.12. Pretty much the same. These are the same. So you could potentially have 182 million requests per day with a 77 millisecond latency. He mentions the rule, or he or she mentions rules here, no RMs, no all that stuff. Here's one point. The minute you hit an ORM into your program, into your application, you're going to slow things down. Okay. So observations, Phalcon, Laravel, and all that stuff. He did mention a couple of things on the Laravel with a session driver. He had a difference. It might have been a setup. But the key here is that this is the bare response you're gonna get from your framework. If your framework can do 2,000 requests per second, then you're rocking and rolling. All right. Now, if after you build your application you drop down to 1,000 requests per second, that's perfectly fine. But you know that your framework can actually throttle you up to 2,000. 2,000, and then you can start ensuring that your implementation is okay and it's good enough to take advantage as much as possible out of that 2,000. All right. Okay, so that was one of the things. Julius is talking about upgrading to V4. Hi Fibonacci. Okay, so we got pretty much everything here, and all I can say is that our build is underway, guys. Our release is underway. So from what I see in the different emails that are flying back and forth, Sergey is working hard, and he actually merged it, didn't he? Oh, look at that! Da-da-da. All right, let me put this up here. There you go. Ta-da! 4.1, not that much, and it was just merged into master. Excellent, excellent. So, yay, a new release. Yeah, the new tag is being set up right now, so it will be in a moment. So way to go, guys. And again, I cannot say this enough. Thank you so much to everybody in the community, even the guys that are watching now. We're rocking and rolling, man. There's 22 people watching now. That's awesome. I love it. Even though the stream is at 360p. Sorry, guys. So the way it's done now is everything has been pre-built. All the necessary scripts and the ext folder have been compiled in order for us to build the release. So once this gets merged into master, Sergey is gonna tag everything. Yeah, next time you have to take the stream control route. I don't know. It's definitely a setting somewhere that I did a mishap because the flicker is gone. That's the best thing, and it pays off to have a good graphics card. And my connection is a gigabit one, so I don't have any technical problems in that end. So I'm guessing it's a setup of OBS or something like that. So what I was gonna say is that I'm not a top framework developer, Fibonacci. Thank you though for just saying that. But what happened is once we merge into master, then Sergey is waiting for Travis to completely finish, and Travis will also have a branch that we will go to Abwehr, so another CI will run. So once that CI runs, the Abwehr runs, then all of our DLLs will be compiled. So what we have right now is we have 4.0.1, as you can see in your screens. This is a brand new release. We actually put the changelog. You see, we don't have that much to do, that much done rather, which is great because you can quickly see any changes that you've done, and you can definitely make sure that anything that you introduced, you do not break anything else. So smaller releases are always better. Now that I mentioned that this thing has been merged into master, I did mention that Travis runs, right? So Travis will run all of our tests and all that stuff. Once Abwehr starts running, then Abwehr will create all those DLLs. So once all of them are done, and the DLLs are one for x86 and one for x64, so 32 and 64 bits, and then you do one for NTS and non-NTS, and then you do one for the PHP version. So if you put all those three together, you can see how many DLLs we have and how many jobs we'll have to run on Abwehr. And Abwehr does them one at a time. So it takes around 2.5 minutes for each of the DLLs to be built. So it will take a little bit of time. Once that is done, then all the DLLs are going to be attached to this issue. So I know Diplopiro is probably crazy to get his hands on the new DLLs. As soon as Abwehr is done, buddy, they're gonna be here. So it's not gonna be that long until we get all these things done. Okay, and yes, Hash and Yas, the DLLs are gonna be done. Are gonna be built soon. Are gonna be attached soon. So let me see if I can find this. All right, so let me show you this, guys, here. All right, so this is the actual build, what we're waiting for, and the history is that we're waiting for this to finish, the 14702. I remember I told you that this is when we merged into master, right? And this is when we created the tag. And remember what I told you, Abwehr runs one job after another, so it's sequential. So when this merge pull request finishes, and you see here it's around 2.5 minutes, 2 minutes 41 seconds. So right now it's doing the 7.4 PHP 7.4. It's the NTS, and I don't know what the rest of it is, but it's one of them. It's either the 64 or the 32 bit. So it has to do all of these one after another, and then once it's done, then it's gonna start doing these. And once these are done, then they're gonna be attached to our release. Now, once this is finished, then we can start doing the RPMs, and that will take close to an hour from now or something like that. And remember, I did mention that we only have a set amount of workers that are working under Travis, and Travis is the one that runs everything, not only the tests, but it's the one that creates the RPMs and the devs. So once all those workers are done, then they can start doing everything. And we cannot start the RPMs and devs unless we have a proper release tag. So now that we do have it, we're going to start the whole process after we're done with the DLLs. And it's going to take around an hour from now. So it will be a little bit. So what we can do though is... hold on. Is actually post stuff on the Twink. Alright, so Phalcon 4.1 released. Okay, and all we have to do is just go publish. Now, go. Okay, and all we have to do is just wait for this thing to come up. And in the meantime, let me just bring some windows over here. That's fine. Reddit, Dev2, Iwi. Okay, so let's go back to the Phalcon blog. This is what we posted, and this is how we're waiting for it. It usually takes a little bit of time for this thing to be built. The actual website, it takes close to 2 minutes, 3 minutes after we post something. So, where's the social thing? Zoho social. So we're just gonna have to wait for the blog post to post. There we go. So let's copy this guy. Actually, where is it? To announce at Phalcon before photos. Okay, that should be okay. Alright, so post on this. So that goes to Twitter and yeah, it takes a little bit, and then you go to Parler, paste that. Oops, shoot, not there. Paste here, and that post. Let's done. Leave div. Then you go to MeWe. And let's leave Reddit there. Let's go to Gab. There. Okay. And now so we did the Zoho Social. For Reddit, we need to do Phalcon. So we create a post, link, let's copy this, and then let's copy this. There you go. So that one is there. Phalcon 4.1 release. So we did Parler, we did Gab, MeWe, we did that. Dev2 we're gonna have to wait just a little bit. Reddit we did it. Zoho Social we did it. And what we need to do is, hold on, I need to copy this again. Then we need to go to Telegram. Let's bring Telegram over here. So create a post. I gotta fix this thing. Here, and then here. So next, so oops. So add reactions. We need these. Add URL buttons. So this is the interesting thing. So we type in forum. Oleg, do you know how many times I actually thought about what you just wrote of doing it, but never sat down? There is an application that is written, I think, in PHP or something like that. There we go. Okay. There we go. That's that. So there is an application that does all these authentications. It connects you to Twitter, to MeWe, to whatever. So what happened is I looked at it and it was, okay, well, you need to connect with OAuth here and you need to do this. So it was going to be able to post, I think, to Reddit, Twitter, Facebook, and a couple of other places, all right? So that was an easy way, but I never sat down to look at it and see how you can create new adapters, because for MeWe and Parler, as well as Gab. Gab is really easy because it's based on Fediverse, so you could definitely hook up to their API. But MeWe doesn't have its own kind of like API to work with, and Parler is very new. So it's some of those things that we need to figure out. Definitely. An application that would do everything in one go would be great, but I have not done this for now. So so we have to wait for Dev2 to update. Once that updates, then we're gonna have everything posted in every social media that we have. And once that is done, unless anybody has any questions, I think we're gonna conclude our Hangout and our release. So very soon. Oh, there you go. Phalcon View 1. So we go and edit. We click here. True. And then I have to remove this. And save changes. Ta-da! Okay, so this thing. Oh man, these don't work anymore. Oh, dang it. Alright, we need to fix these. These are kind of like alerts or callouts or something. Gosh. It's probably like that. And like that. So if I save this, will it save it? Okay, it saved it like that. These little things that you see here, the alert and alert info, are some sort of markdown placeholders. It relates to the previous element. It adds the class. So in this particular block quote that you see, it's gonna attach the alert and alert info class. So hopefully it's gonna show better here in a minute. Yes, yes. So like Markdown is so Markdown, but you know what? For our purposes in our blog, it's perfect. I don't have to think about a million things. Just put the Markdown there, and it actually helps a lot because if you notice the change log and all that stuff, it's all in Markdown. So all we do is just copy and paste. Copy from one to another. So if we go down here, all this change log added, changed, and all that stuff, this comes straight from our change log. So we don't have to reformat all this. So let's see, did it do anything? It hasn't updated yet. So it's still building. We tend to use Jekyll for these. I'm just repeating different things. We said this before. We used to have all of our websites running from Phalcon applications, but with version 4, because of the amount of work that we have, we just couldn't deal with it anymore. So we moved all the websites that we did not need to have in different applications. So for instance, the blog, the main website, and stuff like that. we move them into Jekyll. And we have this company Netlify, who is very kind and has supported us and supported us in terms of open source project, and they offer us free hosting and all that stuff. So all you do is the minute you have a pull request, they recognize and they rebuild the site. Now the site is completely static, so there you go. So now that I refreshed and I put the alert, it created this little call out here, and there should be another call out here. There you go. So it actually fixed them. So Oleg, what you see is what you get library used. It's from Netlify CMS. It's a tiny plugin that you can put into your site. It's 2 JS files, and then you have this here. It's a left and a right, and you can put it there. And if you go back to the original part, you can see all the blog posts that have happened here, and you can just add the ones that you want. It's extremely easy. You can add it like this, or you can actually go to the website, to the GitHub repository, and add a new record or a new file, and then once you do the commit and you push, then Netlify will pick it up, and then it would do that. Yeah, we use Cloudflare. We have them here, Cloudflare, on top of Netlify. So for when you access things, you access them straight from Cloudflare, and then you go to Netlify. Cloudflare was also very, very kind, and they gave us a free business account or plus account. So they have been wonderful. Also, all these guys here, all these supporters have been extremely generous with their resources and their time to help us move as a project in general. Hash and yes, who built the Phalcon docs? The UI and how you see things was built by O2, which is this company here, Odva Pro. They're a little bit Russian, so you can put it into English if you want. And I know that this particular website is built with Phalcon. And they're using this, also they have this administration panel that they have built with Phalcon. But what they did is they built this new skin, and the new skin that we have for our main website and for our documentation and pretty much everything. So the way the docs work is, and these are our documentation, everything is markdown, right? Yes, we are working on fixing this thing on the left. Don't worry about it. We know that this is an annoying thing, and we're going to do something. Probably we're going to take all these links and put them at the top here somehow, or maybe change this. We're going to figure it out. So all these are in Markdown. What we have is we have this repository and then this repository. All right, so first of all, we have a docs repository, right? And you see here we have different languages, and I actually need to remove this. So the source language is English. Okay. Anything that we need to write, we write it in English. And then Crowden, the service that has been helping us translate things, pulls everything into their own system, and then you as a translator can go into Crowden. Actually, let me show you where Crowden is. Give me a sec. There you go. So this is Crowden. Am I logged in or not? Yes, I am. So then you can go and select one of these. You can go to Phalcon documentation, let's say Greek, and then you open all the documents and you say, all right, well, I'm interested in translating. And yeah, I know I haven't been translating stuff, so don't kick me. So you go to introduction, and then it would load this, and then you just say, okay, well, title says introduction, which is Saoyi, which is fine. All right, welcome to the documentation. All right, and then you have this, and then you have this, and then you go here and here and here and so on and so forth, and keep on clicking, and you start translating. All right. Now, once you start translating things, somebody has to come over and approve them. So a proofreader will be the one that will approve things. So for the Greek one, if you're interested in translating, go ahead, and I'll be the one that will approve them. We have other people that we know that they know the language that will approve different things. So once everything is approved, you see here it says approved 2 months ago. Once everything is approved, Crowdin creates a pull request, just like this one here, and then it sends us the new translations. So you see we changed something here in the DI, and it comes over and it actually says, all right, well, this was one of the changes that Diplopito did. So we had a typo here in this, it was this container, and it became this container. So Crowdin actually detected that this change has to go in to every language and went and changed everything, right? So all we do is we just merge this, and that's perfectly fine. So that's part of the documentation, okay? This particular change. Now, once all the translations come in, then we go to a different repository, which is the Phalcon Docs app. And you see here the 4.0 release is a submodule. So what we do is we go to this repository here, we pull the new stuff, and then we send everything upstream. And then using Netlify picks everything up, goes and parses this folder as well, these 2 folders, 3 folders, whatever, and then it produces the documentation. And then once that is done at night, Algolia comes over and queries the whole site and is able to give you the search that you have. So that's the whole process that we have. Now, still, this thing is still manual, so I do have to go like this. And then you see everything is here. So if I go to the 4, I'll have to do a pull, get everything. This is the DI that you meant that I showed you, and then go back, and then git add, and then now this push, which means that I updated the submodule, will actually trigger Netlify to start building the site. So what they're going to do is they're going to go and do a pull, update the submodule, and then start building the site. And the best thing with Netlify is that they keep a hash of each file. So when the time comes to build, they look at they build the site, and then they look at every file hash, and if the hash is identical, they don't even bother uploading this. So they upload only the new files that have changed. So it makes the build process much faster. So we're at 103 minutes streaming. Any other questions before we call it a day? All right, so I don't see any Any other questions? I would like to thank you, everybody, for your help, for your contributions, and for being here. Where am I? That's probably this one. So I'm just gonna end the stream now. Again, thank you, everybody, and we'll talk either via Discord or forum, GitHub. Thank you all. Yeah, I knew Diplopito was gonna go and look at the page. All right, thank you guys. Take care.